Welcome to the Power of Play in partnership with Athleum Sports, where sport is more than just a game, it's a force for change. I'm your host, David, and in this podcast, we explore how businesses and organizations use sports to achieve social and environmental impact, and how the sport industry itself can become a frontrunner in social, environmental, and economic sustainability. I'm thrilled to welcome my guest today, Marcel, who is PR and sponsorship manager at NN Insurance. Welcome, Marcel. Tell us, who are you and what is your mission?
Hello, David. Thank you for having me. I'm working at NN Insurance Group's Hungarian business unit, and as a PR and sponsoration manager, my responsibility is to promote our brand, promote our value proposition by supporting people to understand more and be more conscious about longevity, and within this framework to motivate them to follow a more active lifestyle and to promote running so that more people can switch to a more healthy and active lifestyle.
What does the phrase sport for good mean to you personally and professionally?
Personally, sport has always been a very important part of my life, as I was always doing any kind of sport, mostly with some ball, or even if it was football, floorball, basketball, whatever ball you can imagine, actually. Um, and But it was mostly leisure and pleasure, so I have never been to a professional, but it was always very important for me. And after becoming a father, this importance received further layers, that I have more responsibilities, in my job, in my roles at home. I have to take care of myself to be active and, let's say, sustainable part of my family. So it's a responsibility. And what example do I show to my kids? So personally, Sports for Good is a basis of physical and mental health and the mental well-being. And this helps me a lot, and it motivates me a lot to help people experience the same uh, benefits of sport. And this is what I'm trying to do in my current role. So I can say I'm very lucky that I have this role, because it really fits my values and my ambitions, and I really love to do that. And I'm very happy if I can motivate even one people in my career to follow a more active lifestyle.
And do you have maybe a personal story or experience that inspires your work in this space?
Actually, if I have to think about one, it will be a movie uh, created by an ultra runner who is always, I don't know how many times he has been participating to Spartathlon. Uh, so the whole running ecosystem knows this competition. It takes place in Greece. It's a long pitch from Athens to Sparta, and people run this distance alone with so many challenges as people cannot. It's 246 kilometers alone. So yeah, quite a distance. And this guy who is a author, movie maker, actor, he was shooting a film when talking to his fellow runners, and there in this movie he recorded these stories. Some of the runners were there just to consume their grief after losing their child, or they felt like not being an integral part of the society. And through running, all these people found something that they were missing to to fulfill their personality. And seeing these stories, it intrigues me a lot. And even today, I saw this movie a couple of years ago, and even today, it helps me a lot.
I'm totally with you, and I think this is a really important part from, at least on my side, on the sport for good terminology, that sport can really provide a lot of motivation and inspirations when you are really hitting rock bottom. That can be one of them. I love the initiative, the Homeless World Cup, where which basically is combating homelessness around the world. And I think one of the founders mentioned that those players who actually participate in the World Cup on the given tournament and not just on the practices, they I think like 80% of those people escape homelessness, which is, I think it's just really a powerful message on what impact sports can have on a person's life. Moving a bit on to the corporate perspective of sport for good, how do you see the role of companies in general and their responsibility in creating positive social and environmental impact?
Yes, it's a important and more important topic, I think, and not only a topic but a task for companies. Uh, because on one hand, I see, and due to the surveys, international surveys, we see that people pay trust less and less the, let's say, the political establishment, and the political establishment governments have less and less capacity as well to be integrated and to boost and keep operating all these systems like motivating people to follow a more active lifestyle. And this too creates a niche, I think, because the need is ever emerging. Because of today, we are living in a world where everybody is, I don't know, 7/24. We are checking our monitors and computers, even if it's our job or hobbies, watching movies, series, whatever. So it's a sitting lifestyle, and we have to change it because sport and active lifestyle can, with that, we can prevent many sicknesses of our modern world. So this part of this role of companies motivating people to stand up, do something for your health, be more active, through which you can uh, make better your maintain your good health, your mental and physical health, and integrate with other people as well. That's an important point too, I think, because after the pandemic, uh, many people we see due to our own surveys at NN that more and more people, even youngsters, feel loneliness many times, and companies can play a crucial role in changing that. So I think this role is ever emerging, has a ever emerging importance today.
I just read recently a study which was really horrifying, the increasing amount of inactivity of people, and that is on the rise. I think we're talking about a market of 1.8 billion people around the world who are inactive. And it's also a huge market from a business potential, of course, for sport manufacturers to get people involved and get them moving, provide access to sports. And I'm totally with you that there is a very strong push from the public side to push responsibility over to businesses to improve decision making of people, be more responsible. Doesn't really matter if it's on the living a healthy lifestyle or just being conscious about the decisions that you make, and also of course on your health side. And that leads me actually also to the next question on how NN views its role in leveraging sport for social impact, and how does it relate to your business, because it's about being authentic. So companies like NN are profit oriented. So there should not be any false thought that we are doing it just for fun. But there should be, of course, two sides of the equation. We want to do good, and we also want to be able to sustain our business. So how does NN view its role in leveraging sports for social or environmental impact?
I think as a life insurer, we could not have a more authentic and important message than take care of your health. It's
Yeah.
a win-win situation.
Yeah.
It's good for you because you can enjoy more life, you can exploit your years better, and of course, on business side, it's good for us because if you can prevent several sicknesses, we do not have to pay for you. Actually, I see no bad side of it that we economize money on that. So, but still, we are investing money in helping you to do a more active lifestyle. So this is a classic win-win situation, I think, with a very good message, and we are very active on that. NN Group has been doing its running sponsoration strategy since 2015, so it's already more than a decade. And within the framework of this strategy, we are supporting about 50 running events all over the world, from Asia to Europe. We are supporting uh, an athlete club, the NN running team, to give good examples, idols for beginners. That okay, if he can do that, and they have a motto that no human is limited, of Eliud Kipchoge.
Yes.
So yes, that's a very good message. If running is about simplicity, so you don't need to organize many people to get involved to do training. You do not need expensive stuff for that. It's just about you. Okay, you have to get a good shoe for that, but so that you can protect your joints. But yeah, simple as it is, just go out and running, and this is about it. Even during COVID times, when we saw this kind of loneliness and separation, uh, we were organizing the so-called marathon, where people could not attend to public running events, but they could go just out alone. And through an application, it was a community, and let's say an online running competition. So you could uh, approach people, you could join people with at the same time they were running, and everybody could see others' accomplishments. So it was very nice thing again. So this is how what you were speaking about in the intro, it comes in when sport can do something more than physical activity. And
Absolutely.
this is about NN's mission, I think.
I love that. Really, really nice. Um, so we in case of NN, we are talking a lot about purpose-driven sponsorship, right? So these are usually events that you are joining and are pushing forward, and you use that platform to get your message across to your existing clients, your prospect clients, and of course to the wider society, why it is worthwhile to engage in physical activity. I would like to understand, as we're talking about purpose-driven sponsorship, how do you at NN define purpose, and what is the purpose defined by your company, and how does it link with your Sport for Good initiative?
Right. In one sentence, our purpose is we help people care what matters most to them. This is the one phrase we are using uh, to show what our purpose is. And in this sentence, I think there are many important messages. And I will start with the end, that what matters most to you. We do not set standards. This is up to you to decide what kind of life you want to live today, you want to live in the future, what are your preferences. We do not care. This is totally your business. We want to motivate people to think a bit ahead, set their goals, whatever they would be, according to their preferences. But after that, we would like to help them go step by step towards these goals.
Where do you see the differentiating and value-adding factor to use sports as a vehicle to achieve positive change?
I think sport is different because it connects people like nothing else. And let's see the mass events from football matches or running competitions. At our running competitions, I see people who arrive from the most different domains of life, from arts to engineering, and they can run together to achieve something together. Or if they are not in um, common group, they are supporting each other. When at our running events, many times we see pensioners and senior runners, and everybody is cheering for them because we know how hard and very how important it is for them uh, to accomplish their mission in that, and it creates a real community, a living community. And at that moment, everybody is together. 10 minutes later, they will be separated again and do their own follow their own life. But for that moment, they are really together, and
Well,
it's a
before we
special
get
thing.
into those points, because I have a question around that as well for you, which will be, I think, the next question. What I was referring to as well is, some of the key characteristics of sports is this universal appeal, which you touched upon. So people coming from different cultures, backgrounds, social layers, cheering for their favorite team together, although they would never consider to drink a beer. They do that without any problem on when their favorite football match is on or their favorite tennis player is on the court. And of course, you have a humongous reach. Mega events reach, like the World Cup reached over 1 billion people during the time of the play. Then you have the core values, which teaches at an early age discipline, team spirit, and resilience. It's, I think, totally proven that people who start to do sports and continue doing sports from their early age into their elderly age have stronger life skills than the people who just get into that at a later point of time or don't have that at all. And this is super important to our children to teach those life skills, as well as you mentioned it, I think, at the beginning through your favorite movie, inspirational movie, where people lose something down their life which was important to them and need to recuperate from those catastrophic moments. We have plenty of them, unfortunately, today in the world. And sport is an extremely powerful tool to bring those communities together, bring those individuals into sport, and have the opportunity to find these key motivating and inspirational items in their life, whether that's belief, motivation, inspiration, or whatever. But using this maybe as a transition to the next question, can you share a specific example of how NN has used sports to drive positive change?
My example would just refer to to what you have just said, that within the framework of our running ecosystem, we are supporting a foundation here in Hungary. They are called Swish Foundation, and their mission is to share the joy of sport with our peers with any kind of disabilities, mental disabilities, physical disabilities, no matter. They are the ones who created the first and yet last integrative gym in Hungary, which is all accessible with wheelchair or whatever. And this is an integrative gym because here people with or without disabilities, they can train together with coaches. So they are doing running clubs, they are doing common exercises in the gym. And actually, it's a unique thing here in Hungary. And we really loved this idea. And many years ago, we set our mind to support them however we can. And with our donations, uh, we really see how they can go on, how they can continue their operations, and to provide people with disabilities, provide the opportunity to do sports. Because, for example, this is a new project. This would be a new project. We intend to launch a website with this foundation so that people further from the capital of Budapest, where this gym exists, they can join through internet to do the trainings as well. Because we know people with these disabilities, their opportunities are very limited. How they can do sports, how they can be more active, and they need special equipment, special coaching techniques, and this foundation is about to give them that. So with this project with them, I'm very proud we are doing that. and very happy to see that they can continue, they can grow their operations through our donations. And there are other donors too, and we are happy that they can maintain this this ecosystem and this value proposition. So, and it's a huge impact today, I think.
Yeah, I do come across the foundation a couple of times when being in Budapest, and I really love the things what they're doing. Also, coming across them at a few marathons where I participated myself, but I also guess one of your largest initiative is the ultra marathon that takes place in Hungary, the Ultra Balaton, which is your flagship event.
Yes, and there too, social projects are existing too. For example, this year at NN Ultra Balaton, this takes place around Balaton Lake. So the pitch takes 211 kilometers, which people can accomplish alone or in groups. And there will be a new initiative this year that several runners can do 2 rounds alone on the pitch, which takes 422 kilometers constantly. So they do not stop. So it's more than amazing. It's totally out of earth, I think. And I happy to know personally some of these guys, and I really see they can do it. Last year we had a guy, Chippy, who did it, and he will participate this year as well. And all of the runners there, it's an obligation from the organizers that they have to have a CSR donation project. So they are running as the running ambassadors, and people can donate their money for the purpose they chose.
Nice.
So here again, through running, you can promote good initiatives, useful social initiatives to raise awareness about them and the organizations they are running them, and practically to be supported financially. So here again, in many ways, Ultra Balaton is supporting social goals, but this is a concrete stuff and the new stuff at our event, and I'm very curious how it will turn out.
You know, knowing your event, a big portion of that event is corporate participants, right?
Yep.
How much percentage is that? Like, do you know roughly how many of the runners are representing their company?
Actually, it's on a volunteer basis, of course. We have this year a record number of participants. As always, every year we have more and more participants. This year it will be 28,000 people running. Most of them are in groups, so I don't know, 90% of the participants, they are running in groups. And yes, we call even NN Ultra Balaton the biggest team building initiative of Hungary, because we see that I don't know how many, there are banks who are coming with 17 teams. We are launching 8 teams at NN, and we see many others. So colleagues are just getting together, even if they did not know each other from the other department at all. They are coming together, and after this weekend of running, they will really know each other, the goods and bads, and we really see friendships being created after this event, because here you really fight for yourself and fight for your team as well and your companions.
Taking me to the next question, what guided NN to select running as a topic, and were there some criteria that you selected pre-hand that led you towards that direction, or was this just a spontaneous pick?
Totally not a spontaneous one. I was not yet here at NN when they chose running, because it was more than a decade ago, but running fits very much to our values. Earlier, you have spoken about the values sports teach to us and to our children and everybody, and this kind of discipline that if you set any goals, you have to work for it step by step. You don't have to change the world at once, But on a long term, you have to arrive there. This is true for our products because with us you can save for uh, bad events of life. You can save for your pension up for I don't know 20 years. So we are working in long term things, and running is just about that. You can do sprints, and it's a useful and beautiful thing. But our focus is the long term daily uh, work you can do for yourself and for your well-being. This is like the Atomic Habits. There was this book several years ago, which teaches just the same, and it became kind of a buzzword, and but a good buzzword uh, today. That in Atomic Habits you can achieve great things, and this is true about monthly savings, and this is true about running too.
Also, there is definitely the inclusive nature of running, so you can really address huge crowds. It's not really bound to any major financial investment. Being very careful with that statement, of course, but still, running is accessible to almost everybody, and being
Yeah,
part
this
of
is
it.
about simplicity. Yes.
And are you seeing signs that more and more brands are starting to invest in sport for good initiatives and campaigns?
I can I can only speak about Hungary, uh, but I'm very curious about your opinion on an international level. Maybe you see more that than me. In Hungary, I see a positive trend that companies are realizing they have to quit this kind of old-fashioned sponsoration way. That okay, we pay some sponsoration fee, and we want to see our logos and brands highlighted on I don't know fancy surfaces, naming stadiums after a brand, which is a nice thing. But we began by that niche that we need to support social. We need to make social impact, real impact, and with the old-fashioned way, it's limited. So we have to change our point of view and try to engage and try to reach directly our target audiences by finding the touch points and the needs on their part, from their part. This is why this support of local communities, subcultures, uh, focusing on one sport branch like for us this running is this is getting more and more important, and I see more and more sponsors being involved into these kind of projects and taking into consideration this new wave to create impact, to try to create impact directly, and to promote some social goods, not only gaining visibility purely. Even SMEs I see being involved, which is a very special thing, I think, because from these multi companies, it's getting to be a must, I think, and many of us are doing this. But from SMEs, it takes more resources on a proportion level, I think. So I'm very happy when I see these SMEs being involved to these.
Yeah, I mean, totally. The trend is undoubtedly there. There is, I think, I just published recently a post on LinkedIn where we said that it's by 2026, companies will be spending over $200 billion on sport-related, sponsorship-related part. And the biggest growing part is related to the purpose-driven sponsorship. So that's definitely the most growing part on a global scale. I think we arrived now to the more juicy part, and I think many of the audiences are very, very curious about this next section, which is around challenges and solutions. And I wanted to ask you, what are the most significant challenges you have faced when implementing in your case, mainly purpose-driven sponsorship or sport for good initiatives?
Um, I would take this question on two layers. One is convincing leaders to invest into these kind of initiatives, because yes, of course they are human too, and they see the value these projects can create, and they have a great volume of empathy. But still, you have to show a business case for this. How, why is it worth us, and how does it touch our business goals to be involved and spend the resources on these kind of activities. It's always a challenge whenever you are working on marketing. You have the same challenges maybe, but even on CSR and sponsoration of sports for good initiatives, this is true too. So you have to prepare for these questions, which are totally fine questions. And I do not want to lay blame at all on business leaders, because we are all responsible for business goals and the maintenance and sustainability of our company. So, yeah, this is true. But still, here we have to find the good balance between these kind of investments and the business as usual operations, I think. And how, where is the match between these let's say two domains, how they can support each other. That's always a challenge, I think. On the other hand, for us especially, in our case, is we are a life insurance, and you can imagine that people do not like to think about our products and services. It's a natural thing, because these are connected to disasters of life, to tragedies of life, death, diseases, accidents, whatever. So here again, you have to find that point of view. We have to change that point of view, and not speaking about the negative outcomes for which you have to prepare, but seeing the positive side and showcasing the positive side, that okay, if you take care of your health and follow a more active lifestyle and do sport and work for yourself, you can enjoy more the more you can enjoy more life. So this is the quality. This is an expression in health economics, quality of life.
Yeah.
So this is for that. And if we can focus on this one, we are already at the positive side, where we can engage people more than promoting or products directly, let's say.
I would like to just a bit go back to the beginning of this question, is really the justification of the expenditure. What are those elements that resonated or resonate also in the future with your stakeholders on decision making to go for it?
Actually, what these kind of activities can provide is growing brand awareness, and getting and trying to create more positive brand association. That this brand association, it means whatever comes to your mind, is rather feeling when you hear about a brand, the name of a brand. And as a life insurance, this is even more important for us, of course, due to what I have just said, that we are connected many times for products to bad things of life, and creating through these activities and sponsorations, creating a more positive brand awareness, more positive brand associations. It's a huge thing, and of course, which companies do we choose, from whom we are buying services and products, which employers do we choose, of which we have a more positive image in our head and in our mind. And all these activities can support these business goals. Okay, these are long-term and less direct effects than a direct sales process or direct sales activity, but still it can create a very solid basis to promote your services and for sales.
And I think you really touched a nerve there, because one of the key challenges in the past year and also looking ahead for this year, companies see that 57% of the companies struggle to find the balance of positive impact sustainability and profitability. So more than half of the companies see that as the biggest struggle. And there, I think companies just need to try to really integrate this mindset into their daily business as usual activities, and also innovate and develop products in a way that those are integrated into their services and products that they produce. If you look at, for instance, I don't know, sport equipment that you repair existing material, you recycle, you use alternative materials. And maybe in case of insurance, I've had the joy to be part of that industry also for some time, many years actually, and to develop offerings that, for instance, track your biometrics and provides a discount to your clients to reduce their monthly insurance fees.
Premium.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, and interesting, and it's a must. You have to find your match in this.
Now comes one of my favorite topics, which is around authenticity. It is a huge topic, and many people assume either greenwashing or interest-driven impact campaign. How do you deal with this?
Yes, when 4 years ago, I received this task of taking care of our sponsoration activities here in the Hungarian business unit, and I was really happy to see its case that I think this is really authentic to enhance values, taking care of yourself, taking care of your health, etc., which we have already spoken about. But without this kind of authenticity, it's not only throwing out money, but it's a missed chance, I think, uh, because if it's not your initiatives are not connected to your core business and your business values, it's it cannot fulfill the mission uh, you want to achieve, and it cannot be so effective on supporting your ordinary business goals. So this is a fundamental thing, I think, and um, many times we are receiving requests from further initiatives to support financially this sport or that activity, from, I don't know, car racing to some kind of wrestling or fighting sports, which are totally nice too. But here, this is not our match. So really, you have to find your position, your place at this whole sport for good ecosystem to be a real authentic, because otherwise it will not really support your financial goals. And the leaders of the company, yes, they are expecting that all these initiatives are having a concrete match with what the company is really doing.
Yeah, and I see quite often especially in some of the Eastern markets, where I think purpose-driven sponsorship is a newer thing, and it starts to get there, but it's still perceived as charity or giving away money for a good cause and not actually capitalizing on it. Because, like I said, I think nobody should be under the false impression that a company just gives away money for fun. And I think that's also fine. I think people can understand that, as long as it's done in a transparent and an authentic way. And I really like, in case of NN, that you are a life insurance company, a health insurer. You care about the people's well-being because of the people and because of your own financial interests, which should be transparent. And that's good like that. People are not really buying a logo anymore. People buy brands that stand for something. They stand for values. They stand for a vision. And especially the younger generations want to buy in through the brand into those values and those initiatives. And this opens up basically new markets and new revenue channels for the companies.
Absolutely. And in this world of interconnectedness and where transparency is unseen ever before, uh, people are going for maybe today we show more empathy on many domains. So people take into consideration not when they are buying or when they are trying to get hired to join a company as an employer. Um, they are taking into consideration not only the quality of their products, not only several value propositions, but what they are doing for social good as well. So this is getting more and more important factor of our decision making, even if we are buying shoes or trying to switch functions or jobs, and this is becoming a fundamental part of our decisions.
Absolutely. And this takes me to the topic of partnerships. So how do you do you have partnerships in your initiative, and how do you manage them? How does the governance look like? Is this something really complex and difficult to handle?
Yes, that's a nice map we could draw on that because directly we are involved with as partners with the event organizers. With them, we have to have a very close partnership. But I think this is not enough because, okay, there are the other sponsors. We have to take into consideration what each and every sponsor do, what are their profiles, what is their place or function in this whole atmosphere or ecosystem we are creating around NN Ultra Balaton, who is doing much more for charity, direct charity donations, who is uh, responsible, let's say, on nutrition, who is responsible for smart uh, sport smart stuff, so medical uh, coaching or aids for participants. So everybody has to find its own place in this whole ecosystem, and we have to respect these positions. And with the event organizers, trust, I think, because I dig very deep. I try to dig very deep into this running ecosystem to understand more the needs and problems and preferences of the target audience. But still, I'm behind the event organizers who are on a daily basis in contact with hundreds of runners. Um, so I have to rely on them to get the insights, how to proceed with and how to plan for activities and how to shape or uh, or value proposition, what we can offer to these runners. And this kind of very close partnership helps me a lot because I'm sitting at the office, I see much less than they see.
I think we have arrived at a very difficult question, which is around the metrics. Lots of companies struggle to find those metrics which can put their initiatives into context. So how do you measure the success of these initiatives, both in terms of societal impact and business outcomes?
As a basic statistics, it does a lot. I think that the participation of NN Ultra Balaton grows year by year. It started 90 years ago with 200 people, and this year we are having 28,000 people running there. Last year it was 25,000, and each year it grows 5 to 10% in the number of participants. It's a good sign. This year, I already spoke with the organizers that within this 28,000 people, we have about 1,600 new registrants, so new participants. If any of those new participants are new joiners, not at our event, but in running, it's a huge impact, I think. And we are also monitoring with surveys uh, how many of what proportion of the Hungarian society is doing at all any sports, and within that, running. How much of them choose running? And last time we had that number that 20% of the runners uh, are doing more or less regularly this sport, and with it, this number is getting higher and higher. So even these, let's say, hobby runners, they are taking running more and more uh, important, and they taking it more seriously and do it on a more or less regular basis, not as an ad hoc activity. Sometimes I run, sometimes not. This shows a bit of, yes, the discipline we were spoken about earlier. And I also found a white paper from Italy. There they have no they have 23 million people who are not moving at all, and there they were working out some metrics to see what uh, volume of money the healthcare system could save if they could mobilize a small portion of these people. And I took this metric and calculated something that in Hungary, 55% of adults do not do any sport at all. And of this 55%, uh, again, 55% uh, are not doing any sport because they do not really feel for it. They do not wanna. They miss the time, or just not feeling for doing so. And if we could uh, convince only the 10% of this, so one person of 10, we could save 23 million euros a year.
Having metrics like, for instance, social return on investment is extremely important to quantify, that you can show also that NN is investing for the good of society, and it generates value in monetary terms in forms, for instance, in savings.
Yes, actually, I missed a very important part of the number. It's not 23 million, but 223. Sorry, I was just being in
Yeah.
a hurry. That makes a difference, I think.
Yes.
So 223 million euros a year. If we can
Amazing.
motivate 10% of the 55% of the 55%. So a very small portion of the Hungarian society, if we could motivate to do some sport regularly, and it's due to the suggestions, it's 150 minutes, so about 2.5 hours a week, which would be the basis, which really does some impact. Yeah, it's something.
Having a bit of an outlook into the future, what trends do you see emerging in the intersection of sports and corporate social or environmental responsibility slash impact?
Um, as I have said, in Hungary, I see this positive trend of letting go the old way of, or the old school way of paying sponsoration fee for pure visibility. I really hope this will continue. So maybe we are falling a bit behind uh, many countries, Western countries like, I don't know, France or Switzerland, but and Germany, for example. But I really hope to continue this trend here in Hungary, and I really see this spam filter of people. Most of us are using filters not to see advertisements online, or if, even offline if we could do, but concerning taking into consideration this spam filter of people, this denial of pure advertisement, this kind of authentic and impactful integration to sports for good initiatives, this line will grow further and further. And I'm really looking forward how, for example, new sports will come into fashion. So how what sports will be the new wave? Because before we had these team sports like football or basketball. Later on, it was running, which became very popular and very well known and followed by companies, and which will be the further one. So will it be padel or any new kind of games, tag ball, or how will esports join into this ecosystem? Will or will not? How we can exploit, and how will we create real ecosystems on that? Because yes, you can make sponsorations for each uh, initiatives or running events or whatever you choose, but how to grow them into real ecosystems, like we try to do with supporting Swish Foundation. How can you integrate these new partners to your core business to grow your value proposition? This is the biggest question in my mind, and I'm really looking forward to see good examples on that and best practices.
I think I would maybe extend a bit on some of the future trends is on carbon neutrality will, I think, definitely remain one of the core focuses, and it's something that companies also understand, I think, by today pretty well, and how they invest in infrastructure. Then community-based sponsorship, I think it's a very big topic. Then the use of ESG metrics as a standard practice in their reporting, which companies still struggle also because if you are a multinational organization, there are regional standards which make their lives quite difficult. So maybe in Europe it's that standard, but in Asia it's a totally different standard. And how do you harmonize those together? Then partnering with NGOs and social enterprises, and then technology-based ESG sponsorship initiatives. Because if I would be a sponsor, I would today definitely start to ask my platforms for data that eases my reporting burden. And I want to get that prepared data from my platforms to make, of course, also my life easier, and also see the actual commitment of the platform investing into sustainability on their end. Then maybe moving on, if you had money is no object, yes, situation, what innovative sport for good project would you launch?
Hard to imagine, but sticking to what we already do, um, I would I would go further, and because I think there is a huge, still not exploited potential in our running ecosystem, even if we are doing many things with NN Ultra Balaton, NN City Run. We had running application to support runners. We had many things, but still to grow it into a real an even bigger ecosystem where we can support people with more medical aid and guidance, nutrition guidance, sport coaching guidance, and of course paying more focus on integration. So through this Swish Foundation, we can do a lot for the integration, but still we see this kind of anxiety and loneliness is a huge issue here in Hungary. We ran a survey last year, and it turned out that even among the younger generations, we see that 20%, so all fifth uh, younger people, a person, feel depression and they face anxiety ordinary, so in their daily lives. So it's not an ad hoc that once a year they feel it, but on a regular basis, they face these mental challenges. And with integration through sport campaigns, we could do a lot against these problems, I think. So I would go on in this direction to widen or running ecosystem and and boost our impact.
Well, you never know. Maybe a good partner comes along and sets you up for on this course. What advice would you have to other corporate leaders in your ecosystem in regards to how they should face their challenges or integrate simply sports into their impact strategies?
Um, I can only say what helps me because yeah, it's not decades I've been doing this, but what really helps me is that I'm trying whatever project I'm trying to realize with my fellow colleagues is that what value our audience demands and what can we really offer. And there is a huge list on both sides, and the matches you have to look for. And yes, even if you are willing to do even more and even more, but if there is no match between these two columns, you have to leave it. You have to let it go, and it's very challenging many times because you see the social value or the business value of each uh, elements of these two lists. But if they do not match, you really have to let it go because you will not be able to function on a sustainable level. It will fall apart when you are raising your ID at a business meeting, or it will not. It will turn out to be semi or totally useless at your on your target audience side. So this kind of yeah, it's connected to authenticity, what we have already spoken about. But yeah, this list of what can you really do from the list of demands of your target audience. This is a guidance for me.
Okay. The parts of it, like be authentic in what you commit to, ensure continuous funding, try to build products like in your case around your initiative, helping you to ensure the funding of these initiatives of yours, and choose good partners to magnify your impact, I think would be some things as well that people can take along. And I would like to have one more final question to you. It is, what does the power of play mean to you?
As I told you at the beginning, I became a father a few years ago, and through my kids, I can really experience how games and playing together, how much it can teach us, and I really see on them on a daily basis how immense impact these common activities playing can have on them, how they learn uh, fundamental life skills in these activities. And I think this is true for adults and children and seniors as well. So it's a huge potential.
I think that's a powerful closing here. Marcel, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
And that's a wrap on today's Power of Play. We hope you feel inspired by the incredible ways sport is shaping lives and is driving meaningful change. If you enjoyed this conversation, please follow us, like, share, comment on our content. And remember, the game does not end when the whistle blows. The real impact happens beyond the field. So keep playing, keep pushing, and keep making a difference. See you next time on the next episode of The Power of Play.